welcome to the Occupy Wall Street Maui General Assembly tonight, Marianne Williamson.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's really gorgeous for you. Good idea. You can't be here.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Excuse us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. As Mary said, it's been very exciting. I was speaking about Occupy in New York last week, and in Berkeley a couple of weeks ago, and in Los Angeles. So it's interesting even hearing the conversation that you were having before I came up about is it political, is it not political. It's so interesting having traveled a bit and seeing the various conversations and the tapestry of concerns and ideas, to see the similarities and also see the differences among cities. It's very exciting because, as we know, it's a national conversation. I'd like to just share a few ideas. Part of what has been very exciting to me and why I am enthusiastic about the movement is that it is holistic. There are people who are definitely involved in the quantitative shift in our circumstances as well as a qualitative shift in our souls. Martin Luther King said that while the desegregation of the American South was the political externalization of the goal of the civil rights movement, that the ultimate goal was the establishment of the beloved community. So with Martin Luther King having gone to India, studying the principles of nonviolence as articulated by Mahatma Gandhi, then bringing those principles over to the United States for their application to the civil rights movement in the 1960s, we already have two major, extraordinary, and successful social justice movements, both Gandhi's and Dr. King, which approach the kind of political transformation that they were seeking to achieve from this holistic perspective, knowing that it was a shift inside us, a spiritual shift, as it were, which was as important and which would fuel the political activism that needed to occur. For me, from a political perspective, and once again, I'm not losing sight, I want to go back to what these gentlemen were talking about. Is it political or not political? I think it's extremely political. But we want to remember what the Latin root of the word politics is. It's politeia, which means of the people. There's more to politics than just electoral change. I think electoral change is very significant. But let's remember, this is a political meeting in that it is citizens coming together to talk about the future of our country. And when you consider that as the founders imbued the core principles of this country in our two founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, as well as our Constitution, that's what they established, core principles. And we know as individuals that if you're going to have a meaningful life, you have to stand for something. And you have to check. And you have to check when things go wrong in your life. You check with your friends, your counselors, people who love you. When they point out to you, you know you strayed from the things you say you believe in, and that's why these problems have come about. Well, I think a country is the same as an individual, because all that a country is a group of people. And what we are here for is to self-correct, I believe. The United States, both our economics, our corporate capitalism, as well as American democracy, because we've strayed from core principles. Now, that we've strayed before, but this country tends to self-correct. We had slaves, but we abolished it. Women had no rights. We passed women's suffrage. Abolitionist movement, women's suffrage, civil rights. These were all examples of times in American history when America did not stand on the principles on which it purports to believe, and when citizens of the United States put it back on track. So we're part of a long narrative of social justice movements in the United States. Now, as I said, the core principles of the United States are articulated in three places. First of all, our Declaration of Independence. Second of all, our Constitution. And in the field of legal scholarship and political scholarship, the Gettysburg Address and that famous principle of Abraham Lincoln's, of the people, by the people, for the people. You shall be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. That is now considered, along with the Declaration, along with the Constitution, a core principle of the United States. If the United States of America is going to opt out of the people, by the people, and for the people, and instead become, for all intents and purposes, of a few of the people, by a few of the people, for a few of the people who love this country need to have a conversation. think it was Werner Erhard, the founder of the S movement, who said you can either live your life out of your circumstances or live your life out of a vision. And the beauty of the United States is that the vision is very powerful. We've not always embodied the vision fully, but this idea of a vision, of a place where it is the collective agreement of the people of this place that there shall be an equality of rights and opportunities, that the government will be a balancer of individual and corporate freedom with a concern for the common good, and that the government would be of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is the vision. And the job of citizens, the job of every generation of Americans, is to steward American democracy so that we more and more fully embody those principles. Now, we all know what brought us here. We all know that before 1980, there was appropriate corporate regulation in this country. A corporation exists in order to serve the bottom line economically, short-term economic gain for its shareholders. But a nation is not a business. Is money important? Absolutely. But it's not our bottom line. The health of our children is a bottom line. The health of our planet is a bottom line. The welfare of our people is a bottom line, not just short-term economic gain for a few people. In fact, this country was founded in repudiation, of course, of a situation that we all learned about when we were kids in school. The divine right of kings, where there would be a king or a queen, and then they had a few friends called the aristocracy, and basically the major resources of the country were used up by the aristocracy and the monarchy, and then whatever was left was given to the rest of the people. Well, we were founded in repudiation of that. We were founded to be a country in which it was not a king and it was not an aristocracy who held the reins of power, that the power would be vested in the people of the United States. This was not just some metaphor. This is serious stuff. People have died so this could be true. And as I said, we are a part of a long narrative of history in the United States where huge social justice movements for which people sacrificed sometimes to the point of their lives arose out of the deepest yearnings of the American people to make sure that what we actually did was aligned with that belief. And what has happened on an archetypal, energetic level is that we have now recreated, for all intents and purposes, an aristocratic country. And a situation where there are a relative few people, the ones who have access to the king, right? And so they basically, from whether it's corporate subsidies or corporate loopholes or tax cuts for the very, very rich, have so